All right, welcome to the Eric J. the Great podcast show. Got a special guest on the show today, hip hop artist, Hybrid the rapper. How you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing, bro?
Are you doing all right? For anybody that never heard his music before, I'm gonna play one of his songs and then we'll get into the interview.
Life was better when I had you. I did certain things, thought I had to. Then I realized I didn't have to. Bad news, I didn't have no dad too. Life was better when the homies was around. Before COVID and the drugs took the town. Before we was slaving for minimum wage, we was shooting ball all day, posted in the hallway. We didn't see black and white, only Christ and a sacrifice coming back to life just to get it right. Life was better with no needle in your vein. Before the toxic relationships came, before the broken hearts and all the pain. Life was better, just kids in the rain. Regret nothing, shit. Show me the way and I'ma smash that reset button. So quick the time of year took. Went from signing yearbooks to giving weird looks. Damn it, son, so much damage done. Trying to grow like a seed, so I planted one. Where we gon' go when the plan is done? Fuck all the politics, I don't plan to run. Keep my head up when I'm fed up. I'm just trying to raise the dead up. Like what? Life was better when I had you. I did certain things, thought I had to. Then I realized I didn't have to. Bad news, I didn't have no dad too. Life was better when the homies was around. Before COVID and the drugs took the town. Before we was slaving for minimum wage, we was shooting ball all day, posted in the hallway. Life was still good before.
Yeah, that's a nice song right there, man.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's the opening track on the newest album, and the album's actually called "Life Was Better," so it's like the theme song.
Yeah, I listened to a couple songs off that last project that you just dropped. You know, that one kind of resonate with me because I like heartfelt stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, that whole album is real, and it's all true stories. I didn't just do a bunch of fancy rapping on it. Like it's all relationship and human, real life kind of stuff. Like um, I can do all the battle rap and the underground and the crazy rapping and the bangers and all that. But for this particular project, I went to some more realism, kind of humanistic stuff.
Okay, so we'll start from the beginning, man. So first off, tell the people where you from and how old are you?
Well, I hate to get age shame, but I'm actually 43. I've been rapping. I'm from a small town in Kentucky called Frankfort. I'm in between Lexington and Louisville, and my stage name's Hybrid the Rapper. And I've been rapping since really since I was a teenager. You know what I'm saying? So I've been at it for a long time. I just had a lot of different phases over the years. I was in a rap group for a really long time. All my childhood friends, we was called a Basement Upstairs. We were kind of big around this area, in the Kentucky area. And then I ventured off and started doing rap rock kind of music with some live bands and stuff. And I also started my own record label, um, and had a nice big cast at one time. And so now at this point in life, at 43, I'm kind of stripped down to like being a solo artist. But over the years, I was like a real heavy collaborator. Like I always had a crew, always had a projects with people, whether it was a band or a record label or a rap group. Um, so yeah, hybrid the rapper is my stage name, and I use the term hybrid because not only a mix between singing and rapping, but also a mix between different styles and genres. I like to bring it all together. Even a long time ago, before hip hop merged with all the other styles of music, I was always kind of combining the two, combining rap and rock, or R&B and rap, or punk and rap, or metal and rap, or spoken word. I was always mixing up all sorts of different styles. So that's where I got the name hybrid at.
Okay. So when you hear your hometown, what's the first thing that come to your mind when you hear your hometown?
My hometown. Well, it's a historical capital, small, kind of southern, kind of river oriented. We're right on the river. We're in between Lexington and Louisville. So when I think of that small town experience, man, I think about you know, being seen, being known, knowing a lot of people knowing of you, you know what I'm saying? Like you see the same people every day. It's a totally different experience than let's say in Louisville, or Lexington, Chicago, or Atlanta. You know, when I think of small town, I think of simplistic living. You know, at this point in life, you know what I'm saying, that as the town is right now, I feel like it's in a tough situation because of drugs and things like that. You know, like Kentucky was like really hit ground zero with a lot of the pill epidemic that eventually transformed into like, you know, the meth and heroin type stuff. So my area kind of got riddled by that a lot. So that kind of is a dark cloud. But when I think about my town as far as where I'm at now, you know what I'm saying? I get a lot of love, I get a lot of support. I'm blessed to still be able to have listeners over all these years. Like my town's always supported me. So I've always looked at my town as a positive place, you know, because I've always seen it from my lens, you know, and I always got a lot of good support and love from my hometown. So I've always tried to give back and all that to my town. But like it definitely has room for improvement, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Especially when it comes to being sort of riddled by drugs and kind of broke. You know, it's Kentucky's kind of a broke place. You know, not a whole lot of money being generated. So, um, but it's a cool place. It's a cool place.
okay. So, kind of describe your upbringing. You know, when you was a kid, teenager, some of the struggles you had to endure just coming up as a kid in Kentucky. For anybody that ain't never been to Kentucky before, you know.
Well, my upbringing was real uh, sporadic. I moved around a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? I was raised by my mom, like a single parent home. We bounced around from house to trailers to apartments to projects to different cities. I lived in Chicago for a while, lived in Mobile, Alabama for a while. Always seemed to find my way back to Frankfort. But growing up, I was kind of a suburb kid, you know what I'm saying? Like a hip hop suburb kid. I was raised mostly on the east side of Frankfort. Um, I had a wide array of different friends growing up, which eventually led to me and all my homies rapping. Like I hung out with all the hip hop kids, you know what I'm saying? Mostly we just listened to rap music, played basketball, and chased girls, you know, like but I had a mixed group of friends, white and black. Like I said, I was from the east side of Frankfurt. Um, and that's kind of known to be a more diverse side of town. That's where the university is, Kentucky State University, which it's a historically black college, and that's eventually where I went to school and everything. So, growing up, I was, you know, a single parent home, poverty, middle class. You know what I'm saying, fluctuating depending on where I was living at, wherever my mom had me. But when I got into high school, I kind of found my place, found my niche, found my homies and stuff like that. But I did bounce around a whole lot. Like I was constantly moving and never really settled till like later in life.
Okay. Did you have any siblings?
Yeah, yeah. I eventually got had a sister from my mom, and then a younger brother from my mom, and then I also, like I said, I was from a single parent home, so I wasn't real close to my dad. He actually lived in Florida, but I do got a sibling. I have a brother from him as well that lived in my town, and he was actually only 3 years younger than me, and he eventually became somebody I made music with as well. Once we connected and realized that we were brothers, we actually ended up making music together too. He was actually in my childhood rap group. So yeah, I got four siblings, two sisters and two brothers, and we're all half. So yeah,
Oh,
it was two separate families because like my dad, he was down in Florida, and I had to like reconnect with that side like later in life.
okay.
But mostly raised by my mom.
Okay. What type of activities you was in as a kid? Did you play any sports or anything like that?
Man, I was glued to the basketball courts, man. That was the only sport I cared about. I mean, I was down to play anything, you know what I'm saying, like baseball, football, whatever, but I fell in love with basketball, man. Still to this day, I play like every other day, you know, like I was uh I was a huge Atlanta Hawks fan because in my area, um, the only team that you could catch on TV was the Hawks because of TNT. and that's all I ever had. So growing up back in the Dominique Wilkins days, I was always watching the Atlanta Hawks, and it stuck with me to this day, man. I don't care about no other sport, no other team, or nothing, but I'm still like a diehard Atlanta Hawks fan because it dates back to my childhood. But yeah, mostly before music, I was just out chasing girls with my homies and playing basketball. That was pretty much my humble upbringings, especially back in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? It was like hip hop, listening to music, collecting music, just hanging out with my homies and playing basketball.
Okay. So, did you have anybody close to you or in your family that was involved in the music business?
Well, that's a cool question. Like, not really in the music business, but my mom definitely exposed me to a lot of music. But then later on, when I connected with my dad, and I always knew uh, the rumors around town, my dad was actually a really good, profound guitar player, and he was in bands in my town back in the '80s and the '70s, kind of like old school '80s rock music. You know what I'm saying? But they were actually really well known and really good. You know, they toured. They were kind of like the group back in the day for this area. Totally different style. But yeah, I think fundamentally I had the music in my blood, man, because my mom's a music lover. Even to this day, she attends more concerts than me. You know what I'm saying? She like loves music, loves live shows, loves to sing. And my dad was like an amazing guitar player. He was like Eddie Van Halen or Jimi Hendrix or something with guitar, you know. And so I think I picked up that rhythmic passion subconsciously, you know what I'm saying, to like pursue music. But really there's no comparison because I fell in love with hip hop and writing lyrics and poetry. And I'm not sure where I got that from because they don't really write lyrics and sing. They're more like my mom's a music lover and he was a guitar player. So I don't know where I got the love for words and hip hop and rapping, but music was definitely in my worldview at a young age. And then of course when I never had no connections or nothing, you know what I'm saying, growing up. But of course all my friends rapped. So as soon as I first showed people I could do it, they were all showing me they could do it. Next thing you know, that's just part of something we did, you know, when we were 15, 16 years old, long before everybody had home studios and all that. We were just rapping in the car on the way to the club, rapping at parties and with the video camera on us, you know what I'm saying? We was just doing it for something to do, whether I was beatboxing for them or we was making little beats on the keyboard, you know. So I definitely got exposed to music at a young age, but it was really off being blessed with these friends who did it too. You know what I'm saying? Like being right smack in the middle of a bunch of guys that not only loved rap music and loved different types of music, but they like to do it themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like nowadays I don't know if the kids get that experience because everybody's a solo artist, you know. But like when I was growing up, it was all about your crew. It was all about the rap group. It was always about like everybody doing it together. You know what I'm saying? And so when I was like 16, 17, still in high school, me and all my homies rap, you know. And so I was definitely exposed to the music and creating it at an early age. And it just took me a long time to figure out the equipment, how to make beats, how to mix, how to, you know, because back then the technology was so different and expensive. So it took me a long time to kind of figure out how to do all that, you know what I'm saying, how to get it together before software, you know.
Okay. Who was some of your favorite music artists growing up?
Well, in the '90s, you know, there was a lot of dope people to choose from. I liked the big groups, you know, back then. I liked the Wu Tang and the UGK and the Outkast and 8 Ball and MJG and all those artists back then. But I really fell in love with West Coast Bay Area music. I got exposed to the underground of like Oakland and Vallejo and all those areas, like E40 and Mac Dre and Mac Mall and all those artists, man. DJ Quick was another one that I liked a lot. So like growing up, even though I liked all that other music, you know, Bone and Twister, all those guys, um, I was like addicted to West Coast. If it was West Coast, I bought it and I collected it and I knew all about it. I was like a historian. to this day, I can just name artists that are so obscure, you know what I'm saying? Because they came and went. But I loved all that West Coast music that was coming out of the Bay Area and then also Sacramento, all that kind of stuff. So I was like deep into the Bay Area sound, even though I appreciated everything. I loved East Coast. I loved Biggie and all that. Of course, I love Tupac. But then in the late 90s, I actually stumbled upon Tech Nine as well. And through Bay Area music, because he was put on by like E40 and Yuck Mouth and people like that who were West Coast. And he started appearing on a lot of tracks. And then when I heard Tech Nine, it changed my whole thing. He became my favorite artist, you know what I'm saying? Then I started really zooming in on Tech Nine over the years and what he was doing. And other artists as well. But yeah, man, I was big into the golden era rap music, the late 90s, early 2000s. I liked a lot of really obscure groups that I'm not sure anybody even knows who they are anymore. You know, they've all came and gone. They're either dead or in jail or just stopped doing music. You know, a lot of those artists didn't really stay for the long haul. So
Yeah, absolutely, man. Kind of walk me through your first time going to a recording studio and recording a song. Like, did you pick it up easy or was it kind of rough patch at first?
oh man, it took me a long time to ever even find a studio to record in. I actually kind of did the RZA route. When I was starting to learn all my friends, me and my friends was all starting to rap and write songs together and all that. I actually invested and got some equipment, keyboard, an analog 8-track. This is before digital stuff was even available to, at your local music store. Um, and I got a drum machine and a sampler, and I learned how to make my own beats, and I got a microphone, and I learned how to record myself. So for the first 10, 12, 15 years of my music career, I was just recording myself. I probably had one of the only few home studios in my town, and the quality wasn't amazing by any means, but it was a low budget makeshift studio, and I would invite all my homies over, and I was kind of the producer engineer character. That's why I say RZA. Actually, watching that new Wu-Tang show, watching their whole origin, it really reminded me a lot of how I was doing it back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Same kind of process, just like really working with old analog equipment and all that. So it wasn't until like mid 2000s that I ever got with people and threw some money in on a big studio. When my old rap group, we were called the Basement Upstairs, when we finally really started getting things popping and started doing shows and generating some money and creating a little buzz around our town, and we started really being known for it. We all forked up some money that we had saved from shows and went to a studio in Louisville and recorded a better quality album, and then we pressed it up. Got 1,000 copies, and that was a big deal back then. You know what I'm saying? That was like, man, we're on our way. Long before streaming and social media numbers, like that's what it was about. It was about like going out, passing out flyers, printing out your CDs, selling them out the trunk, selling them at shows, giving them to people. And we didn't know what was going on in California or Georgia. It was all about, did your hometown like it? You know what I'm saying? Because that was the only thing in our reach back then. There was no internet. So yeah, for the first 10 years, man, I was recording myself and my friends, and just recording on them little analog tapes, transferring it over to CD. Probably nobody heard it unless you was hanging out with us directly, because we didn't have copies, we have a lot of copies or anything. So the whole first 10 years of my career was very, very underground, very low budget, very, very small in a sense of numbers and all that. But we did make moves eventually. So like mid 2000s, we went to a studio. I think that's when we got our first taste of Pro Tools and things like that, better microphone and all that. Because even then, there still wasn't software that was very affordable for everybody. Only a few people had, commercial studios. But yeah, so I was definitely definitely took me a while to get accustomed to going to other people's studio and doing my thing because I was so used to just being in my own little comfort zone. And even to this day, I still love recording myself in my studio here. But nowadays it's a little different. I've gotten the confidence and experience where I can go to any studio now, and I have 4 or 5 that I hop around to and work with different engineers and all of that. But like I said, from my generation, my we didn't skip no steps. You literally had to do everything from scratch, making the beats, learning it. You know, there wasn't no YouTube tutorials. You had to like get in there and clock in and just read the manual and go to town. You know, so yeah. But I'm blessed for that experience because it's gone. Oh, something happened. Okay, there you are. Sorry, my phone went down.
Yeah. So, are you, as far as your recording process, are you more of a writer or a freestyler?
I'm definitely a writer. I really enjoy writing the lyrics out. The only time I really get into freestyling, other than just just for fun with friends or in the studio, is sometimes I freestyle hooks. You know what I'm saying? I'll make up hooks on the spot and punch in and decorate them and cook them up without ever writing a lyric down. But I'm definitely more of a writer for sure. Um, I'm an old school pen and pad type person. I don't write on my phone or nothing. If I could spin this around, I could show you folders and folders and folders of written lyrics. You know what I'm saying? That's my first love, man. Is the just writing it out. Even before I ever wanted to be a rapper, I wanted to be a writer. And so when I figured out, oh, this is the way to deliver it, I was hooked. Yeah, but freestyle is fun, and I still do it with my homies. But when it's and I'm able to do it, but yeah, I ain't in there freestyling songs like that.
Okay. So as far as would you sign to a label if it made sense, or would you stay independent?
Yeah, I like that you said if it makes sense for sure. I've had, I've always wanted to be independent. You know what I'm saying? Um, because mainly like growing up and watching Mac Dre, E40, Tech Nine, seeing how they did it, I always envied that. I love that liberty and that freedom to do whatever. I always wanted to start my own label, which I did. But I mean, if the right offer came and if it was an artist friendly offer, I would definitely consider it because I know there's all types of different deals nowadays, especially where the industry is trying to capitalize on the underground.
Oh,
um, but all my experiences so far that I got sold a dream, publishing deals, distribution deals, development deals, I've gotten offered all that stuff from different people. And every time somehow, some way, it ends up being bad. I fall out with them. Nothing comes of it. The contract is 15 pages of ways to screw me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't personally had many good experiences with people that would want to like take me under their wing and do something. I wish I would have somebody legit that really believed in me and was a good human being. You know what I'm saying? And really had good intentions. But in all of my years, whenever I've had people approach me, even recently, you know what I'm saying? I've had people approach me recently wanting to do this and that for me. It never really pans out, man. People, it's like gaslighting. They just talk a real good game and there's nothing tangible behind it, really. I've had publishing deals where I just wrote songs and gave them the songs and hope for the best. I've had development. I was offered a development deal where they wanted me to take my whole history down off the internet and start from scratch. Um, I've had people that said they want to be an agent for me and book me shows and you know pub for me and shake hands for me. I've had a manager, that did most of the work. I've had it all, you know what I'm saying? I've tried it all. And I started my own label with my homie. We end up having to dissolve that. So I personally haven't had many good experiences with people that want to do that for me. But I wouldn't say never, you know.
okay. So when you was first starting out and you start putting projects out to the public, kind of describe how did your city embrace you when you initially dropped your first project? Like, was it a lot of support, or how was it?
Well, back then I wasn't a solo artist, so I was in a group, and like I said, we were called Basement Upstairs, and it was 6 of us, and everybody was really talented. Everybody was well liked around town. Everybody was well known. Everybody had their own style. Everybody had their own attributes. And when we finally had demos floating around and people were actually able to hear them playing in a car, hear them at a party, man, the love came flowing in. It was really cool. It was a great time. I mean, we became like locally famous in our area. You know, we bands started letting us come open up for them. Venues started letting us come perform. You know what I'm saying? We were getting people that wanted to interview us, people that wanted to work with us. It was we definitely got embraced. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. There was always some hate. You know, there was always some people critiquing and stuff like that, or just sort of like brushing it off. But on the scales, it's always been more love than hate in my area. Even to this day, man. Even as a solo artist later in life, like I just dropped an album last Wednesday. It's been nothing but love. You know what I'm saying? Like even after all my different phases and everything. Um, so yeah, when it first happened in them early 2000s, and we first started doing shows and all that, man, it was an overwhelming response. It was cool.
Okay, yeah, that's what's up, man. So,
Yeah.
for anybody that doesn't know about the music scene in your city, man, just describe the music scene from when you first started out up to now. Like, as far as like all the artists in different areas, do a lot of artists work with each other? Everybody mind their business, or how is it?
Man, I would say if you was to draw it out like a chart, it was like a huge hill. Like there was nothing. It was just a few of us that rap. And then over the years, it started really popping. You know what I'm saying? It was starting to build a lot of momentum, different crews, different groups, different artists starting to do things, being serious. And then like here in the recent history, it sloped back down. I don't see a lot of people really pushing their music anymore.
Mm,
I feel like I'm at 43 years old, and I feel like I've had longevity. I've gotten better. I've adapted. I've stayed relevant. I've always created content. Like people know I've collaborated. I've done big things, small things. I feel like people have accepted me now. Like they just know, oh, that much Hybrid. He's still at it. Hybrid's still at it. Um, but I'm not seeing a lot of people. I'm not seeing the new generation coming up. All the people that came up with when I did, they've gotten families. They're in jail. They're dead. They're passed away. They don't care. They retired. They're not into it like it was. I feel like especially after COVID, around COVID, it's sort of it's sort of like deflated anything momentum they might have had. Now in Lexington, Louisville, it's different. The scenes are thriving, but in this actual town, man, it's mostly bluegrass, cover bands, karaoke, DJs, country. Um, the hip hop scene, it's not popping like it was, let's say 7 or 8 years ago, or even 5 or 6 years ago. It was really popping then. There was a lot of great artists, a lot of good music being made, a lot of networking, a lot of showcases, a lot of opportunities. But right now, at this current moment in history, it's sort of gotten a little flat. But there's always talent. You know what I'm saying? What they're doing with their talent, I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot. You know, I just did 5 shows in 2 weeks. I couldn't even hardly find a an opening act. You know what I'm saying? I'm setting everybody up trying to get somebody to come perform. I couldn't get up. You know, go to Louisville and Lexington. It's a little different though. There's a lot of bands, a lot of singers, a lot of rappers, a lot of producers. There's more venues. You know, it's college towns and stuff. But my town's small. You know what I'm saying? It's a small town, so a lot of the talent has given up over the years because they didn't reciprocate a lot of love or money. You know what I'm saying? They kind of put it on the back burner.
mm,
People need that. You got to throw people a bone every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? People need to be able to make a little money and get some good feedback and get some shows and get that local support. And if they don't, they get discouraged. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I feel like that's one thing that always kept me motivated because I always got love. And so I felt like I genuinely had listeners and supporters waiting to see what I do next. And so I felt damn near obligated. Like I can't just give. I had all these people investing and voting for me. You know what I'm saying? And really trying to campaign for me and push. And nah, I gotta keep it going. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think everybody gets that. You know, I don't think everybody gets that kind of love. And I think they get discouraged. You got dudes out here that's hella talented. Their own girlfriend don't support them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if they can't get the love around from their family and friends and people, like, it's like wishing on a star that other cities is going to support you. So I think that's got a lot to do with it. And then just people getting busy, you know what I'm saying, having kids, getting married, jobs, whatever, trying new things. But yeah, it definitely was nothing when I first started. There was no music scene. Me and my homies had to help build it. And then it got really nice, you know what I'm saying? It got to where a lot of cool people was coming out the woodwork. And then now it's slowed back down.
Okay. So, do you got any artists on your hit list that you want to work with in the future? And also, what would you say is your most successful project so far?
Man, I would love to. I love collaborating, bro. Like if I gave you a list of everybody I want to work with, young and old, it'd go on forever. I would love to work with so many people, singers and rappers, bands, producers. Of course, I'd love to work with Tech Nine. Obviously, that would be a bucket list. E40, all the people that I grew up listening to. Then there's people that I just think I can make a dope song with. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially singers. There's a group in Canada that I listen to all the time. They're an R&B group. They're called Always Never. And I always say all the time, man, if I had $1 million, I hit them up. They're like, let's do an whole album together. You know, they're just dope singer, dope production. Yeah, there's so many people, man, so many people. I love R&B music. You know what I'm saying? I love Anthony Hamilton. I love stuff like Justin Timberlake. You know what I'm saying? I love R&B pop. I love The Weeknd, people like that. You know what I'm saying? But then when it comes to rap, I'm down to work with just about anybody if they cool. I'd like to work with some big names. There's a ton of underground artists that aren't that big that I'd love to work with. Like on my new album, I had 20 features on it just because I reached out to so many people. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. As far as my most successful project, I dropped a lot of tapes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got about 60 albums under my belt. Some of them did well. You know what I'm saying? Some of them I pushed a little bit harder and made some money off of, had CDs of, and some of them were just mixtapes that I just kind of threw out there. Um, I had a few years ago, I had a really successful album. It was a country rap album. It was a real soulful country rap album that was, I say it was successful because we did so many videos from it. Like we did like 12 videos and they all sort of went right with the album, real cohesive, you know. Um, the producer was a musician down in Georgia. He played every instrument on there. He helped me push it. And we got a lot of love, a lot of money, a lot of views off of it because of the way we pushed it, you know. But I think this new album that I got's the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like it's I've already dropped about 6 or 7 videos. I'm shooting more, you know what I'm saying, every week. Got 20 collabs on there. 22 songs. It's just a big project. You know what I'm saying? Quality's good. I think all in all, numbers wise and attention and feedback and everything, I think it's probably going to be my best project just because of the way I'm pushing it. But success on albums kind of depends on that, like how much you sink into it, like how well do you push it. Like you can throw an album out tomorrow on a Thursday and it fizzle out by Sunday if you don't push it right, you know. But if you push it like it's a big event, like I've been doing this one, you get more of a response. You know what I'm saying? Like I released 6 videos before the album ever dropped. Every day I'm posting a song from it. I'm telling stories about the songs. I'm posting content, following up. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm laying it out slower. But yeah, I've had some good, like, and like I said earlier, my old rap group, man, we we sold thousands of copies of an album just in the whole town, you know. So I've had different levels of success for sure. But and I've had a song or two that sort of took off, you know. My Need That Hoodie Back, it's a comedy song. I dropped it 4 or 5 years ago, and it did big numbers. You know, it does numbers to this day. Like people know me for that song. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause it's just a funny meme type of track. You know, and to this day, man, I can get on Facebook, say something about that song, and people's chiming in on it because they just remember that being kind of a hit. So yeah, man, different levels of success for sure. And then I've had certain albums that I don't know if anybody listened to them, you know. I just dropped them and never really heard much, you know, because I didn't push them right. So, but I'm hoping this new album is the one, is the classic, you know, because I put a lot of time and energy into it, and I feel confident about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that. The last project you just dropped. So for
I appreciate
anybody that know you out or your fans and things like that, just say some things you like doing in your spare time when you're not doing music.
Man, I'm big into the gym, bro. I'm in that gym every day. Uh, Not only for for mental and physical, health. It gives me something to look forward to. So I love going to the gym. I love staying active, shooting ball, getting out in nature. You know what I'm saying? Take a walk, ride a bike, get out in the woods. I love getting out in nature. More so the older I get. Um, I'm a movie buff. I love anything music oriented. It's like constantly something to do with the music. Like it's like a full time job. Whether I'm making graphics, I'm working on a video, I'm listening to beats, I'm writing, I'm recording it. Man, it's so many liberal arts to choose from. I stay doing that every day, but I also work as well. You know what I'm saying? I work on a grounds crew. I do like labor work. I also substitute teach. Um, so I get all sorts of different avenues. You know what I'm saying? Like um, I like hanging out with my homies, hanging out with my girlfriend. Like pretty simple life for real. My son's grown, my son's 21, so he's out doing his own thing. But before that, of course, I like spending time with him. Travel when I can. Love doing shows. Love attending shows and doing shows. Um, yeah, man. And then I study a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I got some things I like to research and study and kind of hobbies and keep my brain working. Definitely got like to study different literature.
Okay. So what is your short and long term goals as far as your music career?
Short term goals right now, man, is to know that at the end of the day, I pushed this new album heavy. That's kind of been my focus. I just launched it the other day. Had about 5 or 6 shows to sort of push it. Now it's all about the promotion, shoot more videos, keep the attention on it. That's my short term music goal right now, is to really use this album to sort of get some new listeners, get some new buzz, but then also show people that I done took it to another level, and I've developed and grown and evolved a little bit. And man, the long term goal is just to live long, live healthy, man, live good, continue to have amazing experiences, man. Like um, just being happy, bro. Like that's it. If I don't never make it in music, I know I did make it and make a dent and make a statement. I've already done that. I've already succeeded in that. If I could make a living off of it one day, that'd be love. That'd be a dream come true. But if not, man, I don't mind getting my hands dirty and just working real life jobs. As long as my bills is paid, you know what I'm saying? Like, um, hopefully get out into the world, travel a little bit, see the world. Maybe the music's my ticket to do that. If not, man, like just being happy, bro, and leaving a good impression wherever I go.
Okay. So for the rest of 2022 and beginning 2023, man, just kind of list some things that you got coming up that you want people to look out for.
Well, I'm going to be dropping a bunch of new videos the rest of this year. I'm actually shooting 4 or 5 within the next 2 weeks. Shows, I got a couple coming up. I don't know the exact dates, but they're I do have some events coming up. Um, but like I just now did a small little tour to where I did those 4 or 5 shows. So I'm kind of taking a break this week and just getting back to recording and just pushing the album. Um, but man, I got albums on deck, man. Like it's crazy. Like this album is what I'm working on now, but I probably got 10 projects ready to go. All sorts of different projects, you know. So really I'm kind of at a crossroads where I need to decide what's next for me. You know, I already got the music done, but I got to figure out what's going to complement my next phase. You know what I'm saying? Which project to release. So I'll be sort of devising a plan as this year comes to an end, as I'm pushing the Life Was Better album and just trying to figure out what's next. You know what I'm saying? In the wintertime, I'll kind of hibernate a little bit and just focus on making money and pushing the music. But I'll be sketching out a plan for the next year and trying to figure out what my people want. You know what I'm saying? What the world wants, what my supporters want from me next. Because I got a lot of different styles ready to go, and I just want to see what people are wanting from me. So just
Okay.
devising a plan for next year.
Yeah, absolutely, man. How do you want people to perceive you?
And I want to be a diverse, respected, prolific songwriter. I don't want to be the fastest rapper. I don't want to be the most clever punchline rapper. I don't want to be just another country rapper. I want people to when they see my career, my catalog, I want to be like, damn, dude was on a whole nother level of songwriting. Like he did everything. He did every style. Kind of how they see, you know, how they see Drake, an artist like that. They don't really know what they're gonna get next, but they know they want to listen because they know they're gonna get something different and something fresh and new. And that's what I want. I want to go down in history like that. I want people to dig in my catalog later on and be like, damn, this dude was all over the place. Like he worked with everybody. He tried every style. He was a singer. He was a rapper. He was a poet. Like he literally did everything. He like music, like his mixed martial arts. You know what I'm saying? Like I got just well rounded with all of it. So that's kind of how I want to be remembered. You know what I'm saying? I want to be remembered as a hard worker and prolific songwriter. You know,
Okay.
that's really been my dream.
All right, man. So closing remarks, man. Any last words you want that you want to tell the people what you got going on, and also let people know how to find you on social media, things like that.
Yeah, I'll just leave it. Well, I'll say thanks to everybody who I've been working with over the years. You know, and whether I did a show with them or we did a song together, you know, I appreciate that. You know, the collaboration and believing in me, and then of course, big shout out to everybody that's been listening to my music over the years. You know, whether it's local or overseas. You know what I'm saying? Wherever they're from, I appreciate that and grateful for everybody who took time and energy. As far as finding me, yeah, man, just Hybrid the Rapper on social media, any of it, whether it's Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. You just type that in, I'll pop up. And same goes for the music platforms. I'm on all of them. You know, anything from Tidal to YouTube Music to whatever, man, whatever, iTunes, Spotify, and it's just Hybrid the Rapper. And I got my own website as well. You know, hybridtherapper.net. And that's pretty cool. You know, it's more of my hub. I got a clothing store and a merch store connected to it, to where they can order CDs, clothes. I got a children's book on there for sale. Like any support on the website's pretty cool. And of course, Bandcamp as well. That's a good place where they can go check out all my albums and everything. But for the most part, yeah, it's just Hybrid the Rapper on all streaming platforms or social media.
Okay. Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. And anytime you want to come on the podcast, man, you can feel free to hit me up anytime. I'm Eric J the Great on Instagram. Uh,
Okay.
so you can get in touch with me faster on Instagram because I actually have to go to another app on my business page to check that because that inbox is separate from my personal Facebook.
Yeah, I'll definitely add you on there, and I appreciate the opportunity, man. It's good to talk to you, and I'll definitely try to get the word out about your podcast, and I hope it keeps expanding and keep on growing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it, man. I don't had a past couple weeks. It's been growing real big. I know I got this next month. It's probably gonna be the biggest month of my podcast because next week I got Shawty Low Junior. He was on my podcast, so his episode comes out next Monday. And then I just interviewed Derez Deshawn recently too. I don't know if you know who that is.
Nah, that's awesome though, man. That's awesome. I thought I checked your Facebook out and saw some pictures and stuff with different people. So it looked like he was definitely moving and grooving.
Oh yeah, yeah. The rest of Sean's gonna be my biggest interview when that drops next month because he's a platinum selling artist. So
Oh wow, awesome. Yeah, man. I'll send some people your way if you ever need me to. I definitely know a lot of artists and everything.
oh yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man, and you have a good night.
You too, bro. Have a good one.
All right, too.